This is Joshua Hart here for Seconds Out. Delighted today to, as always, be joined by Mr. Danny Conor here over Zoom. Danny, I appreciate your time. How is everything, mate?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. All good.
Very, very good to hear. So it's a big week in boxing. Not only have we got a big Riyadh season card this Saturday, but we have a fight that I still can't believe that I'm saying. On Friday night, we have Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Uh, shows how boxing works nowadays. Money talks, I guess you could say. What do you make of the fight between those two?
Well, I don't, it's not a fight that you want to see. Obviously, it's a spectacle, isn't it? So there's going to be a lot of people that are interested in tuning in. And to be quite honest, I'll probably watch it myself, but I'll only watch it in the hope that Tyson can somehow bring back the form of yesteryear and knock Jake Paul out. Like I don't, do you know what? I want to like Jake Paul. Do you know what I mean? It's so hard because I actually think he's not a bad person, and I think he's a good businessman, which you can't knock that. But I wish that he would I don't know. I wish he would just step up and box someone half sensible. Like obviously he's boxed Tommy Fury, and I think that sort of showed his level. But to fight someone like Mike Tyson for me is just like a bit. I don't know. It's a bit low. Like I don't rate it. Do you know what I mean? And the thing is, like Jake Paul's young. He's got youth on his side. He can punch a little bit, as we've seen in the past. I just, you know, I watched something this morning with I forget who it was. Roy Jones was talking about when he boxed Tyson, and he said he can still punch, and he's still a little bit tougher to hit than what you'd expect him to be at his age. So I'm hoping and praying that he does something and he catches Jake Paul. But I just think like Jake's Paul youth, he like his youth, and the fact Tyson's just that, he's a lot slower than what he was before. You know, I just can't see it ending well for Tyson. I really hope that he does though. And the fact that I'm going against Tyson is so horrible. But I think Jake Paul might end up knocking him out or stopping him. Hope
One
I'm wrong though.
one thing that I've been saying is Jake Paul's obviously been on quite a journey himself in boxing, both in the ring and out the ring as a businessman.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we started to see him do is a thing that a lot of boxers typically do at the start of their career, and he started boxing guys with not as big a name, but who did have good winning records
Not
in
yet,
boxing.
Jim. Yeah.
You feel that he was starting to build up that respect and taking this fight with Mike Tyson, he's almost shot himself in the foot.
I don't even know about building up the respect because the thing is, for me, he's only ever boxed MMA fighters, which, nothing against MMA fighters. Some of them, one of my good mates, Nathaniel Wood, really good boxer. He can box, and I think he could do something as a boxer. His boxing's really sharp. But when you're fighting people like Ben Askren and Tyron Woodley, people that are essentially wrestlers and that are miles past their best, I don't think that bodes well for like transitioning into boxing properly. I would have preferred, whoever Jake Paul fights is going to be a spectacle anyway. He can come to England and sell out the O2. He can go anywhere and sell out arenas. I would rather have him picked. I would be more invested in his journey if he picked proper fights against, actual boxers. Look, we know how easy, matchmaking for him would be pretty easy. There's some good matchmakers out there that could put him in with like real fighters that are sort of real boxers, should I say, that are, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 0. And we know Jake Paul would win. So I'd like to see him built like a proper boxer rather than fighting these MMA fighters, which he's getting no credit for. I know what he thinks that, and whoever's round him, I don't know who's round him, but whatever boxing men are around him should sit him down and say to him, "Look, mate, you can do better than that. Like we can do better. We can build you better if you actually want to be a fighter. We can do that." But fighting these MMA fighters is mad, and then to them fight Mike Tyson, like it's just fucking stupid, mate. I don't know what I can say about it. Really, I just can't see any good in it. If he loses to Mike Tyson, he's it's not a good look for him. And if he knocks Mike Tyson out brutally, or beats Mike Tyson, you can't take anything from that. You can't say, "Oh, well done, mate, you've beaten Mike Tyson." Like it's not Mike Tyson, is it? I'd rather seen him fight Shannon Briggs. Do you know what I mean? Than Mike Tyson, but he wouldn't do that because I think he knows what would happen.
There's already a lot of concern about the fight itself, especially in the build-up to the original date back in July. But do you feel there's even more concern now knowing that the first fight was called off because of a health scare.
To be fair, I don't really look into that because, in my opinion, Tyson shouldn't be in there in the first place. You know, was he 60 odd years of age now?
Yeah.
It's mental, isn't it? You know, he shouldn't be allowed. And whoever's, I don't know who it is that, if these fights are sanctioned, or whoever does sort of sanction them, or allows for these things to go ahead, but Tyson shouldn't be in there. It's bad. It's not good for anyone. Like I said, it's not good for Jake Paul. His stock goes down, I think, regardless of what happens. And you can't look good in this fight. So fine, Shannon Briggs, someone like that, someone who's actually dangerous and is still looking a bit lively, or even like a low level American fighter who you can sort of build up and turn it into something. Fine, but Mike Tyson's a no-no from day one. I've said it's a low blow from Jake Paul.
Just looking at this fight for Mike Tyson, obviously originally the fight was set to be an exhibition bout. But as time went on, the rules got changed, and it is now a fight that does go down on the professional records. Is that where it's not even a problem with the fighters, but you've got to look at who is sanctioning the fight and say, how are you letting this go ahead?
Well, 100%. Of course it is. I don't know. It must be. I don't know who it is that sanctioned it, or obviously said it can go ahead, but it just seems like there's no soul in boxing anymore. Like, I don't know. I know fighters that have been turned down for their license, recently, that are a lot younger than 60 years of age and that can still fight. But yet Mike Tyson, who's 60 years of age, is given his license. Like, it's mental. It's absolutely mental. And the thing is, like I said, there's nothing good that can come from this at all. Like, Tyson wins, Jake Paul looks bad, and boxing looks a bit shit as well. Like, I don't think Dana White would ever have anyone of that sort of age in the UFC. Might be a little bit older, and don't get me wrong, people like Bernard Hopkins, obviously boxing at 50, but he was a bit of he was a bit of a special case, weren't he? A bit of a special case there, but yeah, it's not good. It's not good at all, and it makes boxing look bad. It makes Jake Paul look bad. There's no winners in this fight except for, obviously there's no positives except for the money that's going to come out of it. That's the only positive you can look at, I think, personally.
Do you think it's a bad look for the fighters on the undercard as well for agreeing to be on an event like this, or for them is it a fair move because there will be a lot of eyes on this on Friday night?
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, the kids on the undercard, they're not doing nothing wrong. It is what it is. I don't know who's on the undercard. I haven't even looked at the card, to be honest, but yeah, whoever's on the undercard, they're just trying to have a few quid, and that's what the name of the game is. That they're not fighting Mike Tyson, but if that's the only opportunities for some kids to get out there and break out onto the big scene, it's not necessarily their fault. Yeah, of course, they should stand up and go, no, listen, that's not on. Like, we don't really want no part to do with this card. But as we've already said, money talks and bullshit walks. So that's the end of it, ain't it? The money is the deciding factor.
One of the fights on the undercard is a rematch from a fight of the year contender back in 2022 between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. See, Amanda Serrano working very closely with Jake Paul. When you look at that fight, that is a better fight. What do you think is going to happen in that rematch?
The world class is a brilliant fight. I just don't know. I don't know how much Katie Taylor's got left. Was it Cameron she fought in her last fight? Yeah. In her last fight with Cameron, like, don't get me wrong, they're both top level girls. I just think, is Katie Taylor at that point where she's just about to start dipping and Serrano got her at the right time? I don't know. If I'm honest, I think it's a brilliant fight still. I'll have to go with Taylor. I think Taylor's still got enough in the tank to beat Serrano. I think Serrano's a bit more of like a, she's always there to be hit. She's going to come forward and try and press the action. And Katie Taylor's boxing as elite. So I think as long as Katie Taylor don't get caught up in a gunfight, I think she wins on points personally.
Do you feel there is any concern for Katie Taylor, obviously going across to a fight card that is Jake Paul's promotion? Do you feel there is any fear? Obviously, we know what judges can be like in this sport. Do you feel
especially as it's the same judges and sanctioning body that have sanctioned the Tyson fight, it does make you wonder. But I think Katie does her job well enough. I think she should whitewash the fight. Serrano's a really good fighter, but like I said, Katie Taylor's boxing skills are next level. So I think as long as she does her job properly, I can't see them robbing her. But you never know. You know, this like show business boxing is mental. So you know, it's one. She's 1-0 against Serrano, isn't she? Is it 1-0?
Yes.
She's 1-0. So you can well see this from a business point of view, going 1-1 and making sense for the third fight. But I pick Katie Taylor to win on points personally.
And then just moving away from this card, around this time last week, we saw a statement issued from Conor Benn saying that he's been cleared of any wrongdoing from what he said. Obviously, we're still awaiting to see official statements from the NAPD, UCAD. But from what we know and from what it sounds like, according to Conor Benn, he will be back fighting in the UK soon. What do you make of the last 2 years and seeing it unfold back in October 2022 to now?
When it first happened, I was like, when it first happened, I didn't know what to believe, to be honest. Like, I like Conor Benn as a person, and I like him as a fighter. I think he's one of the most improved fighters we've got in the UK. Because obviously, when it comes to light, you don't know what to believe. So you just like, bloody hell, like, what's going on here? So I sort of reserved judgment for a little bit. I didn't really know what to believe. But then, because you just don't know, do you know what I mean? Could supplements have been tainted? You know, you just don't know. So I sort of tried to not really get involved with it. But you know, I don't know what's concrete, what's not concrete. Now, there's so much shit on the internet nowadays. You don't know what to believe. But I've spoke to Conor like, a few times personally, and I don't know. He don't seem like that type of guy to me. So at the end of the day, if that is true and he has been cleared, then that's all you can go by, I suppose. You know what I mean? There's not much else you can say. It's not like there's damning evidence that's come out with like he done that and he done that. You know, and even if he did do that, at the end, I suppose at the end of the day, he served. He's not boxed for what, 2 years? Is it 2 years?
He's boxed twice. He's boxed twice in America.
Yeah, yeah, but not obviously. Well, that's that. Well, how long is it since he had a bit look quite a long time out, didn't he? Before he actually boxed. I think was it like it was a year and a half or a
Yeah,
year
a
or
year and a
something
half.
like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, so let's be honest. Like if he'd have got a ban, he'd have probably served that time anyway. Like it's I don't know, but he's been so out like so. He's been so like certain that he hasn't cheated and so like adamant is the word I was looking for. So adamant he has not cheated and you know, I just don't know. Like, there's no proof. It's tough to call it if there's no proof. And I think if there was proof, he would have been banned. So, look, the boy's been found not guilty. Well, not say not guilty, no evidence. So you've got to let him continue with his career, haven't you? You know, and it will always taint him. But actually, it won't taint him because let's be honest, in boxing, no one really gives a fuck if you cheat on drugs, do they? No one cares. A couple of years later, no one will even remember it. You know, so who really gives a shit? Personally, I think if you get caught drug cheating, you should be banned for life, and that's it. There's no coming back. Once you get found with gear in your system, that's it. You're done. You're out. There's no comeback because you're essentially carrying another man's life in your hands. You know that's basically attempted murder. If I think it. So yeah, I personally think if you get caught on the gear, you should be banned. Like all round, it should be a worldwide ban. Like Conor shouldn't have been able to box on American shows until there was a conclusion with what's gone on. But he has, and that's it. But listen, the guy's been found, you know, like I said, no evidence, not proven, so he should be able to continue with his boxing career. Simple, isn't it?
It does seem he will be continuing, and the fight that has been spoken about so heavily is a fight with Chris Eubank Jr. If that fight does get made, who do you favour going into it if it is to be at middleweight?
You know what? I think since Eubank Jr., since Beefy Smith chinned Eubank, I think we've all seen that he hasn't got that chin that we all thought he had. Like he's not got his dad's chin like we thought he did. Obviously, he can take a shot, and you know we've seen that in the past. If I'm honest, it depends on Conor Benn. I think if Conor Benn goes and jumps on him and makes it into a fight, I prefer Eubank when he has a fight. I prefer him when he's pushing forward behind a high work rate and a tight guard. But recently, the way he's been boxing is more of an elusive, loosey goosey style, which I don't personally think is the best thing for him. So if I don't know, you know, I don't think someone will get. I don't think anyone. I think Conor Benn could knock out Eubank, but then again, I think it could go either way that fight. If I had to choose someone to side with, I think I'll time with Conor Benn. Like he's younger, he's coming up. I think he punches harder. I think he's a bit more elusive. I'd probably side with Benn. I think Ben might stop him.
One thing that I've said over the last few weeks since the rivalry reignited is, do you feel the perspective of the fight has changed in the sense that when it first got made 2 years ago and we had that big build up, it was all about that family history and what their dads had done. Do you feel because of what has happened over the last few years that it's kind of removed that family element and it is now a real personal fight between the two themselves?
No, not really. I think you know the family history. Again, once that fight's confirmed, and that's the fight that's going ahead. Yeah, I think that they'll play on the family history again. That'll get brought up. Yeah, they're their own men, aren't they? And they're their own fighters. But no, I think the family history will play a massive part in it. They get like that. That will all be stirred up and brought back. And I think that'll play a massive thing. I do think it's a mixture of both. To be honest, it's like the family history, but also they're both doing their own thing now. If they weren't where they were, they wouldn't be there. It wouldn't matter. Do you know what I mean? They'd be there. They're there on merit. Do you know what I mean?
And just lastly, just looking away from all this talk and looking in the heavyweight division, we saw a press conference a few weeks back now to announce fully the rematch between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. December 21st, it goes down. Who do you favour in this rematch?
Do you know what? It's a tough one. I just think Fury has got all the advantages. He's big. He's strong. Well, not all the advantages, but he's a lot bigger and he's a lot stronger than Usyk. And I think that if Tyson comes in with the right game plan, which I think again is like a little bit of boxing, like sort of 70% fighting and 30% boxing. I think if he pressures Usyk intelligently, if you run into Usyk, then you play into his hands. I think intelligent pressure boxing is the way to beat Usyk. I think you need to keep him on the back foot. He needs to use his long reach and his strength. But at the same time, he needs to be careful of running into traps that Usyk's going to set. Usyk's smaller and he's going to want Tyson to fall in. As long as Tyson uses them long arms of his and keeps him at distance, but again, uses the pressure and makes Usyk come to him, I think Tyson wins. I think Tyson wins on points. I don't think he stops Usyk. I think it's hard to hit Usyk. You can't hit him with a handful of pennies, can you? But he's a tough man to nail with one shot, like a clean shot. So I can see Tyson putting him over. Again, if Tyson, I'd like to see Tyson go to the body a little bit more than what he did previously. But I think Tyson wins on a decision.
A lot of talk has been made about the heavyweight landscape and I guess putting a timeline on what could happen over the next 12 months. Do you feel, win or lose for Tyson Fury on December 21st, there is still that massive fight with Anthony Joshua?
100%. But what you're saying there about the landscape of it, I feel like now we're coming into the passing of the guard from the Joshua Tyson Fury era. And if I'm Tyson Fury, I'd fight Usyk and I'd box Joshua and I'd back it in. He's made hundreds of millions of pounds. He's got generational wealth, same as AJ. And I wouldn't like to see either of them in with like Martin Bakole or even Dubois at this point. I think Joshua has made the right decision not fighting Dubois again. I think that Joshua's like he's well past his best. I think he's best. I don't think we've seen his best since he stopped Klitschko. To be honest, I think that was like the decline after that. Again with Fury, I think Fury's fights with Wilder are catching up with him now. Don't get me wrong, I still think he's got enough to beat Usyk, but it's only because Usyk's a little bit smaller and Fury's a lot stronger. Usyk's a maverick though, man. You just never know what you get with him. He's such a like a box of mysteries. It wouldn't surprise me if he came out and stopped Tyson. Because you can see he can hurt him. But at the same time, I go with the Gypsy King. But I think now is the time for them guys to cash out. Like rather than going out like they don't need to go out. We don't want to see them. I don't want to see Joshua being knocked out no more. He's proved his point. He's done wonders for British boxing. Like we all owe him a lot. And regardless of whatever Joshua has done, away from the ring, I love Joshua, and I think he's a proper fighter. And I just think now is his time to sail off into the sunset with his millions and millions and just enjoy his life. Same as Fury. Get the fight with Usyk out of the way, have your fight with Joshua, and then vacate the title. Let the boy and then let Kokoli come through. Let Dubois come through. Let the others come through. That Fabio Wardley from our shores. Let them guys come through and take over before it's too late and they're out talking to lampposts in the street when they're taking too many punches. Do you know what I mean?
Just my very, very last one then. Obviously, you mentioned wanting to see the fight between Fury and AJ and then seeing them sail off into the sunset. Who do you favour in that fight if we are to see Fury go
Fury.
Any reason why?
Fury all day. He's just. I just think Joshua has done that. Like the only reason that you'd want to see the AJ and Fury fight is as a spectacle. And like I said, I think Joshua's done. Like he's done. He's taken too many shots. He's been hit too many times. Like I just think there's a time when enough's enough, and I think enough's enough now for Joshua. But it's time to call it a day. Like I don't want to see, like I said, I don't want to see him punch drunk and talking like he's got a loaf of bread in his mouth. You know what I mean? We don't want that. We want him to have his faculties and be able to influence the next generation of boxing. And I just think, the Fury Joshua fight is a fight that should have happened 3 years, 4 years ago. But, if we can get it on now and make it happen now and just squeeze the last bit of juice from the lemon, then lovely. But after that, I think that people definitely need to sit down with both of them guys and just say, do you know what, guys? You've been credits for the sport. Like, you've done unbelievably well. Like, especially Fury. Look at Fury as an amateur. Didn't really do much as an amateur. Come up on the Hennessy shows on Channel 5. And, he's well achieved, like, over what people thought he was going to achieve. He's done really, really fucking well. He's always a great fighter, but I don't think we saw that early doors, and I don't think people bought into him too much.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think enough's enough now. I think just do this fight, get this fight out of the way of Usyk. Joshua just hold tight and hope and pray that Fury wins. If Fury wins, take that fight. But if not, if I was Joshua, that's it. I've done my bit and I've had my few quid out of it. Been a unified heavyweight world champion, and what more do you want?
Well, Danny, appreciate your time today. I'm going to leave it there.
Okay, man.
Yeah, top man. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Thanks a lot.